What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Mike Jeezy here, coming at you with part 3 of my Hearthstone beginner intro tutorial, whatever you want to call it. Let's dive right into the game. Today I want to talk about the last few basic things with Hearthstone. I'm going to talk about weapons, because I didn't really specify what they were and how they exactly work in the last two videos. I'll talk about the different classes and their hero powers, and then I'll show you how the arena works. And that should probably be a good 20-minute video or so. Anyways, we'll talk about weapons. And see, I'll go to Paladin. Alright, so this is an example of a weapon. Here you see, similar to creatures, they have like a power and a toughness. But this toughness is called durability. So basically it's like the number of uses that you get for the particular equipment. So this one has a power of 1 and a durability of 4. That means when you attack, you can use this weapon a maximum of 4 times unless it gains a durability somehow. And to attack with the equipment, like in the last video you saw, I just clicked the character, it's usually down here on the battle screen, and it makes it so you can attack with your character with this equipment. And any damage that is inflicted, it's not inflicted like on the equipment, it's inflicted on your character. So let's see like another, and sometimes the equipments have effects, like this one has Battle Cry. This one, which I actually use, when you attack, you gain 2 health. So this is probably like the best Paladin equipment. It's about the only one I see being ran in top tier decks. Like sometimes this one's ran, but it's not near. This is like a really good one because it, like you can like view equipment as like card advantage, because this one is going to be able to kill, you can't see it, but it's a 2 durability. So for this one card, you're going to be able to kill, 2 minions, so that's a +1 in itself. So that's equipments. Let's talk about each of the classes and, which ones I like, and kind of like a tier system, if you will. So I'm going to go into the solo adventures so I can show you all of the classes, since normally this would be a rogue spot, but I don't have a rogue deck built. I just don't care for that class very much. Alright, so here you have the 9 heroes classes. So this first one is the warrior. His ability for 2, you can armor up, which basically gains 2 armor. So I guess I didn't talk about armor, but armor is basically like a form of health. So for example, like if I was at 30 life and I had a creature that restored to 3 life, I would still be at 30, because I can't be above 30. But with armor, you can be above 30. So if I was at 30 and then turn 2 I played, I used the hero ability, I would have 30 health and 2 armor. So essentially I'm at 32. And then if I took a point of damage, then I would still have 30 life but 1 armor. So warrior, it's good for kind of that aspect. I've had games where I've had 20 some health and 30 or 40 armor, so I'm essentially at 60 life, because to get to my life, in most cases to get to my life, you have to get through the armor. But I guess the flaw of the warrior is this hero ability doesn't provide any either card advantage or field presence. It's just a way to gain life. So warrior, I've spent a lot of time with warrior. I'm at level 32. The maximum is 60, which isn't, that's not the highest or anything, but I think my warlock is 39. So I spent the most time with warlock, second most with warrior. With the new current expansion, warrior is kind of mid-tier, just because their class cards aren't as good as druid. Druid's supposed to be probably the best deck. But yeah, that's the warrior ability. Shaman we saw a little bit in my last video when I was playing against the computer for 2, and all the hero powers cost 2. His ability is to summon a random totem, so you get the possibility of one of 3 O2s that have different effects and a 1/1. And Shaman, I personally really like Shaman, but Shaman's supposed to be like the worst class, if not like the second to the worst class. It's pretty much bottom tier. I'm not exactly sure why. I think it's probably like this hero ability is a little bit too random. Like there are some times where like you'll want to make a specific totem that helps you like clear a board or something, or puts you back into the game, but you'll get like the wrong totem and it just like kind of screws you over. But the totems, like, they do provide like board advantage, and I do like this class, but we'll see what happens with Blackrock Mountain. And so this is Rogue. The Rogue's ability is to equip a 1/2 dagger. So basically they make equipment. And this is like, the Rogue is kind of all based, it's a combo deck, and like the equipment, they can do a lot of stuff with their equipment. They can like nuke the board, or they can like pump other creatures and stuff, and just having a 1/2, like if I'm playing against like the Paladin who makes a 1/1, actually like this 1/2 is going to be able to clear 2 tokens, even though a lot of players don't like use it like that. They just kind of like make the equipment and pass the turn. And there's like strategic elements to that, because they want to be able to not have to commit mana as often to make the equipment. Whoops. Sorry about that. So yeah, Rogue is definitely top tier. It might actually be the best deck. I'm not sure. It's probably within like the top 3. When I see like top deck lists, usually like each player always has like a rogue, miracle rogue they call it, within their like decks that they're using. So Rogue is good. I just don't have one built because I need like 2 or 3 legendaries for it, and I just don't want to build those when I can just make generic legendaries first and then focus on Rogue later. But yeah, this is a combo deck. It's very potent, but yeah, just not my taste right now. So Paladin, you saw in my last video, this one makes 1/1 tokens, and then Paladin is kind of like a control deck, but you can also make it a really aggro deck. So like a lot of these decks you can like make multiple ways, which is kind of cool with Hearthstone. Like you don't have to play, just aggro. There's a lot of like flexibility to make a deck how you want it to be. But the current like top tier Paladin I see is more like a control / good stuff build that have like good creatures from all different mana costs. I do like Paladin. Paladin is it's up there in tier. It might be like upper middle tier, I guess. But yeah, I do like Paladin a lot. Hunter is an annoying class. Hunter's ability is to do 2 damage to the enemy. So you can kind of imagine like fucking Hunter just wants to do as much damage as possible. So the popular variant of Hunter is called Face Hunter. It just runs like a whole bunch of little dudes, and it's basically like the mono red of Hearthstone. You can kind of view it that way. Yeah, it just wants to drop creatures, swing, use a hero ability, then it has like a few burn spells that just take you, and it's really sacky, it's annoying. It's probably like top tier, I would say. Like Hunter did get nerfed pretty hard with the Starving Buzzard. nerf, but they've just adapted to I don't give a fuck and I'm just gonna attack your face as often as possible. And then if you drop like taunt guys, they run the 2/1 silence bird, so they just like drop that and then just keep swinging. It's kind of like, it's just really ignorant Hearthstone. Druid. So the Druid's hero ability is to give it +1 attack and +1 armor. It's kind of like the +1 attack. It's kind of like an equipment, but it doesn't equip anything. It just makes it so your hero has a power of 1, and then you can like attack, a minion or whatever, and it also gives you +1 armor. This like hero ability actually like ends up being pretty useful. It's kind of nice to get, with the +1 armor. It's kind of like you're gaining life. Plus being able to attack is nice. Like it lets you clear tokens. Like so, for example, if a paladin had a 1/1 token, and then you use the hero ability, you're gonna gain the 1 armor, which will basically nullify you attacking the token, and you're able to kill the token because you have the 1 attack. So it's kind of like a free way to kill tokens and just do a little bit extra damage. Druid is a ramp deck. For the most part, it's kind of like you can view it as like red-green ramp or something. It tries to just kind of like survive the early turns, and then toward the end it just drops like continual baddies until it kind of overwhelms the opponent. So yeah, Druid's pretty top tier. Like I don't know what exactly is the best deck, but it's usually like it's the most played deck right now. So I'd probably say Druid is the best deck. It also has a lot of consistency too. Let's see, Warlock. Warlock, his ability is to take two damage and draw a card. Warlock was kind of what I first started out with. There's 2 main variants of Warlock. There's like the really aggressive version called Zoo, and then there's a form called Handlock, which is just basically like a control version. And there's different types of control versions, but they all kind of run similar cards. So when I started out, I just played Zoo. Basically the concept of that is just to drop, low cost, efficient, powerful creatures and then draw cards. So you're basically just dropping, little dudes every turn, drawing cards, so you're not going down in advantage and control the board and then just hit the opponent. It's not as like facey as Hunter, even though I've seen like people play it that way, just play ignorantly, and sometimes they win just because you can't deal with all that damage. Sometimes they lose because they don't keep the board in check. So I think it's pretty easy to tell like who's like a good Warlock player and who's bad. Warlock used to be top tier, but I think with the new set, like all the decks have kind of adapted to Zoo, so I barely ever see any Zoo decks top. I do see a lot of like the control variant, and the control variant's getting better. It's still like kind of on the lower end of the tier. But yeah, I do really like Warlock. It just, the Zoo version is just, it needs to be built differently, I think. But I do like the control version. Mage. Mage's hero ability is to simply do 1 damage. The 1 damage can be done to a creature or a player. So there's like 2 versions of Mage. There's the Mech Mage, which runs a lot of like efficient mechs, which are basically just a creature type, followed with like the best burn spells that exist. There's also like a control-ish / freeze mage version, which I don't really like. I don't know, I don't think I've lost to that version. Maybe I have a couple times, but it just seems like a less efficient version. Mech Mage, I do see it quite a bit, but I think it's kind of dropped down a little bit because people have kind of adapted to it. I think the problem with Mech Mage is like, with Mage, like you don't have as much recovery. You kind of burn through your cards, and then you're kind of top decking, hoping to draw something. With like Warlock or Druid, they have cards that will draw them cards and kind of like keep them in the game. Whereas mage, you can kind of like burn out early, and if their opponent stabilizes, like it's kind of over unless you can get lucky and top like some good burn spells. But I do like mage, just not as much as I did like a few weeks ago, I guess. And priest is restores 2 health. So it's similar to warrior, except like I said, warrior just gains armor and doesn't actually gain health. And priest gains health but has no armor system. So I guess like with matchups, like the mage it seems to have like a hard time against priests, at least like when I play it, because they're just like gaining life all the time, and they have creatures that benefit from the life gain. Priest, I used to like priest, but it's kind of like fallen out the wayside. I don't really play it. I don't really like to play it. And like on the tier system, it's kind of low. It's not as low as like shaman, but it's like maybe 3rd or 4th. So that's a breakdown of all the classes. If you want to see like deck lists and how the community like rates the tiers, you can go to HearthstoneTopDeck.com and it'll show you like event results as they happen. There might be some other websites, but I don't know of them. That's where I basically go. So yeah, it'll tell you like, it'll give you a breakdown of what the most played decks are, that kind of thing. Alright, so that is all for heroes. Let's dive right into an arena, and I'll show you what arena looks like. And like I said in I think my first video, arena is kind of like draft, but thinking about it, it's not draft, it's more like sealed. And I'll show you when we do that. And arena costs 150 gold. So here it has your place where you like buy into the arena. You can either spend $2 cash or 150 gold. I'll spend my 150 gold. Purchase is complete. So the first aspect of the arena is you have to choose. They'll give you a selection of 3 classes, and you have to choose which class to pick. And among these 3, like mage is supposed to be a better class for arena, even though like I just said druid is the best class, but druid's better for constructed than arena. So the shaman's supposed to be pretty good too, but let's go with mage and hope we pull some flame strikes. And I'll choose mage. Alright, so how it works is you're going to make your deck of 30 cards, and it's basically going to give you like 10 rounds of 3 different cards. So you're going to have a selection of 3 cards, and you're going to pick the 1 out of 3 to go into your deck. So it's kind of like draft in a sense, because like you can view these 3 cards as like a pack, and you're going to pick the best card. And it also shows you your curve here, so you can, you're not just like picking a bunch of 7 cost stuff, so you can like keep your deck in a nice curve. Alright, so with this first pick, none of these are like really phenomenal. I probably picked this one because it's a 2/3 taunt. This one's not bad since it gives your other minions taunt, and it's 1 cheaper. That requires you to have other minions out. I don't like cards that are dependent on some kind of game state to exist. This one, when a minion attacks your hero, destroy it. This isn't bad as like a form of removal, but generally like people are gonna play around this. At least the good players, like they'll attack with like the little dude first, and then with secrets, like once their condition is met, it's going to activate. And I didn't talk about secrets. These are kind of like trap cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! You can kind of just view them as like instants in Magic that you have to like set. So it's more like a trap card. This is kind of a tough one, and just to note, like I'm not good at arena, and not really good at like draft and magic. I'm okay at sealed, I suppose, but I'm gonna go with my gut and say this one just because it has taunt and it has like a potential decent battle cry. So I'll pick that one. Alright, so now you see it goes into my deck. Let's see, so with this, I have a 3 for a 4/3, 3 for a 2/3 that kind of has a dependent effect. This one's a 3 for a 1/5 that makes a 1/1 at the cost of 1 health at the end of my turn. This one is supposed to be like pretty decent. The 4/3 is kind of alluring. Yeah, like anyone that's like super experienced is gonna know which one to like auto pick. My gut tells me this one, even though I kind of want this one because I like the 4 attack. And if I do end up picking any secrets, they'll cost nothing. But I think this one is probably going to be better. So I'm going to pick that one. Alright, so I have a spell that freezes a character. 3 for a 3/3 taunt, or 2 for a 2/3. When I summon a pirate, it does something. There are not enough like pirates in the game for me to want to pick this. 3 for a 3/3 taunt is not bad for the cost. So I'll probably pick this one. Yeah. Alright, so now we have some 1-drop dudes. This one's a 1 for a 1/2. It has a probably not relevant effect. This one, each player draws 2 cards. I've seen like people run this, but I don't know. Historically, I've never liked to run cards that let my opponent draw cards and give them options. This one, at the end of the turn, gives a random friendly minion +1 health. This one's okay. Like, so basically, like if I have this guy out and another creature, and that's all, then at the end of the turn, the other creature is going to get +1 health. And it's a 1-drop, which is okay. Like I don't really want either of these because I don't like this one, even though this is probably, like I see people run it because I guess they figure like as long as I'm drawing cards, I don't care if my opponent draws cards, but I don't like to play that way. So I'm gonna pick this one because I think it's the most relevant. Here we have freeze a minion and the minions next to it and deal 1 damage to them. So basically I can freeze up to 3 minions and do 1 damage to all of them. This one is a 2 for a 2/1 that makes a 1/1 when I summon it. This is a 5 for a 5/4 taunt. Again, like probably someone with more experience than me is probably gonna like be able to just like auto pick something. This one has potential to like be like a board wiper. I also have to consider the mage, you know, has a built-in hero power where I can just deal 1 damage. And I guess freezing minions is good if I'm behind. Now, naturally, I kind of want the 5 for 5/4 taunt since it's a big body and has taunt. So I'm probably gonna pick this, even though like if I want to be more aggressive, like 2 for 2/1 isn't bad. But you know, with mage and paladin, there's also a popular arena class. So this is just gonna end up like either trading for tokens that they make or just gonna get popped with the hero power. So I'm gonna go with the 5/4 taunt. Alright, this one, Acolyte of Pain, is probably my like auto pick here. Just because like its ability, it's a 1/3, whenever it takes damage it draws a card for me. So I can combo this with my hero power and just like do 1 damage to it and draw a card. So like this card usually ends up getting a lot of value, and even if they like auto kill it by like ramming a big creature into it, I'm gonna get, you know, 1 draw out of it. So it usually pays for itself. You have another 5 for 5/4 taunt, and then this dude. I don't like this guy because it's, you know, again, dependent on what your opponent does, even though it does kind of force them into playing like how you want to play, but I think this card is the best out of these three. Alright, so I have a drop, and basically this is Pot of Greed for mages. This is gain 8 life to my hero, and then when this is summoned, it deals 2 damage to a creature or player. This is actually kind of tough, because, you know, the Pot of Greed is nice to have, like, card draw. This is good because it's removal, in a sense, and this is good because it, you know, puts me back into the game if I'm behind. And 8 health is, like, quite a bit in this game. So I would say it's between these two. This is, like, a form of removal. The 2 toughness is kind of, like, a downfall. The 3/3 is, like, probably better in that sense. Like, naturally I want to play this because the 8 health is, like, always super helpful. So I'm going to pick that. Alright, so I have the Nerubian Egg. This is just an O2, but if it dies, then it turns into a 4/4, essentially. Here's the taunt thing again, and this is a secret thing. At this point, like, 7 cards in, and I don't have any secrets, so naturally, my inclination is to not pick this. My inclination is probably to pick this, even though Nerubian Egg is pretty good. And, like, I could kill it myself with the hero power, but it seems like not an efficient way to use my mana for, like, 2 turns. And if at, you know, at any point you see, like, bad picks, like, feel free to comment. That helps me too, because, like I said, I'm trying to get better at Arena and, like, evaluating card picks. I would say with, at least with these 3, it's between these 2. And I don't really have anything that combos with this. Like, ideally, if you play this guy, like, on a turn, the next turn, like, you'll play, like, a way to pump this up, so then it'll, like, ideally kill something, this will die, and then you'll also get a 4/4 out of it. At this point, this is looking a little better, just because, like, since I have the Acolyte, it'd be kind of cool to give this taunt and then force my opponent into attacking into it to draw cards. And this, you know, giving 2 things taunt also helps preserve my life. Having the 4/4 is good. But yeah, I'm gonna go with my gut and pick this, even though people might yell at me for not picking that. Alright, this is a pretty easy pick. I'm gonna go with the burn spell. It does 6 damage to either creature or player. The alpha is not terrible though, because it pumps minions that are next to it by 1. And even like a 2 for a 3/2 is not terrible. I know, like, these 2 would be better, but yeah, my gut tells me to pick this because this can, like, deal with, like, a big creature, or if, you know, my opponent's low, then this just burns him in the face. All these, like, kind of suck. 7 for a 7/5. This is kind of like, I don't know, it's basically just a big Nilla, except it's just going to have stealth, but I'm going to attack, you know, as soon as possible. 3 for a 3/3 is pretty good on curve. The 1 for a 2/1 guy does makes me more aggressive, but yeah, I'm not exactly sure. At this point I don't have any big fatties. Like, I'm kind of capped out at 5. And with, like, in sealed, like, sealed or draft, like, you want to play, like, your big fatties that, you know, do a lot of damage. Let me pick this, just because it's a fatty that can, like, it's either gonna, like, just win games, or, like, even if it trades with, like, 2 minions, that's still a +1 for me. This is also kind of alluring, just, you know, it's good to also have, like, early drops, but I don't think this deck is gonna do, like, a lot of little damage fast enough to the point, like, it's gonna matter. But its ability is really good. 3 for 3/3, spell damage +1. Spell damage +1 is not really too relevant, just it's basically having a 3 for 3/3, similar to this guy, but this one is taunt. But this one's also a mech, and if I open anything that has mech synergy, I'm gonna wish that I had the mech, even if it's like not the best mech. Just having a mech in general is gonna be advantageous. So you can easily see, like, you know, the dilemmas and the thought processes that you can come up with, like picking cards. Let's pick the fatty, see how it goes. Alright, so here I have deal 2 damage to all enemies and enemy minions, freeze them. This is a 4 for 2/5 taunt and 3 for 4/3. This is a potential like board wiper, and being able to freeze them is pretty good. I do see a lot of people run this because 4 for a 2/5 taunt. It's not terrible. I think it's worse than Shieldmaster, because Shieldmaster is 4 for a 3/5 taunt, but it doesn't have the can't be a target spell or abilities thing. But this as a board wipe is pretty. It can be pretty useful, and being able to freeze them is pretty good. I'm probably gonna pick this because having a board wipe potential board wipe seems good. Alright, so here we have an 8 for 7/7 Divine Shield. This is just like your standard vanilla fatty. 2 for 3/2. Comes into play, returns a minion I control to my hand. And we have the Cone of Cold again. I think at this point, like this as a fatty is pretty good. But 8 mana is quite a bit. 2 for 3/2, like that helps me in the curve here because I have a bunch of 3-drops. Like you can tell, like my curve is kind of like it's not very smooth. My gut tells me to go with this one, just because it's like an undervalued, undercosted, high attack creature. But the 8 for 7/7 is also alluring. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick that. Here, most likely gonna pick this. This is a 2 for 2/3 mech that like actually gets played in constructed mech mage. Has a good effect. It's a mech. It's low cost, and the toughness at least is relevant. It can freeze any character, which is good. You're never gonna have a weapon for this to be relevant. 1 for a 1/2 taunt is just like too weak to really do anything, so this one is probably an auto pick. This is also an auto pick. Polymorph is good. It turns anything into a 1/1, so if they drop a big fatty, I'm just going to make it into a 1/1. And this one's, it's not terrible, you know, 4 for 3/3 Divine Shield. This one's probably 4, so I'll pick that. That's an auto pick. Let's see. So here, this one's probably not relevant because I don't have a lot of death rattle yet. Yeah, I have like no death rattle, so I'm not gonna pick this. Which other friendly minion? Might pick. What's the spell? Gain +1 attack. So this probably the dilemma here. Like 2 for 2/3 isn't terrible, and the effect is like it's okay. It's not until just end of turn, so it's going to permanently gain the attack. Having a 2 cost is good. 5 for 4/4 gains +1 for each other friendly minion on the battlefield. So basically, if I'm behind and have no board presence, this isn't going to really help. It'll just be a 5 for 4/4. If I'm ahead, then this is just going to be like icing on the cake. It'll just drop in for being huge. So by definition, this kind of seems like a win more card. Like if you're winning, it's going to help you win even more, but if you're losing, it's just not going to help you. And it's a 5 cost. Would kind of like to play this one, just because this is like decent cost. Alright, so like I was talking about with the mage aspect, like this guy gets played in a constructed mech mage. It has +2 attack if I control a mech, so it'll be like a 3/2. So I have 1 mech, and I have 2 mechs. Like, even though I don't have a lot of mechs right now, like this isn't going to be relevant because I'm never going to have a weapon equipped. 1 for a 2/1 is okay. Getting 2 O2 minions with taunt, it's okay. Like, this card used to get played a lot in mage, but I've never been a fan of it just because it, like, yeah, you have 2 O2 minions that taunt with that, they're going to protect your other minions, but those things don't do anything like themselves. So my gut tells me to pick this one and hope to pull more mechs, so it'll be relevant. And if I can drop this, like, you know, turn 1 and then turn 2, like, play a mech, it's gonna be a 3. So I would say it's between these two. I personally like this card more than this, even though I could, you know, totally imagine people picking this, because getting 2 creatures for 1 cost, you know, even if they are just O2 taunts, is going to be good, but I'm going to pick this and hope to open more mechs, or at least, like, pray that I'll play this and then have a mech ready. Okay, so in constructed, this would be the easy pick, because if it dies, then I can pull a secret from my deck and place it. And like I said, secrets are like the traps in Hearthstone. I don't have any secrets. I don't think there's enough secrets to like warrant picking this. Even though like 2 for 2/2 is okay. It's probably going to be this because this is kind of like a fatty and it has a little evasion. 5 for 5/5 is okay. You know, like 5 for 5/5 in Magic is like decently playable even if it's vanilla. The freeze thing is like just freezing a character. I don't really like. I'm not a big fan of. Like, I like to be able to like freeze and do damage, or do damage instead of just freezing him. I kind of view freeze as like a minus. So I'll pick this one. It's a 5 for 5/5. It's a decent body and has evasion. It can potentially win the game. Oh. Okay, so, you know, in the very next pack I do have a secret. The Flame Cannon doing 4 damage to a random enemy minion. This is like, you know, like your basic removal here. It will be between these two. I'm favoring this one because Mirror Entity can be, you know, played around. But this is just like cheap, pretty efficient removal. Even though Mirror Entity is good, like, I'll probably pick this. Alright. So with this pack, I would say it's between Frostbolt, which does 3 damage to a character. When it says character, it means, you know, opponent or a creature, and freeze it. And this one is a 4 for 4/4 that pumps a minion with a +2 attack. So like if I pick the Nerubian egg, then like I would play the Nerubian, then drop this, give it +2 attack, and then like suicide it into something. At least that's what like aggro Zoo used to do. Yeah, my gut tells me to pick this because doing 3, you know, this is removal, but this does provide a body, so that's why I say it's between this and this. 4 for 2/5 charge doesn't seem too good. If it had taunt as well, like, it'd definitely be a contender. But looking at my curve, like, picking the 4-drop wouldn't be terrible, and having the 4/4 body is good. My gut tells me to pick this though, because if I have a fatty, I can just freeze it. You know, even if it doesn't kill it, then it's going to be just freeze it, so it can't attack. So I'll pick that. So here, so this one is only good if my opponent is basically winning. This will be a 3 for 6/4 if they have 6 cards in hand. Usually that's not the case in Arena, so I wouldn't naturally pick this. The 3 for 2/8 taunt, you know, they do have to like do a lot to kill this, but when it dies they get a minion. My gut tells me to go with this one, even though it's not as much toughness and it costs 1 more. It doesn't get that advantage of the opponent pulling a card out of their deck. Like this one like sucks because the opponent just always seems to have like a way around it. Even though like on paper it seems like, oh wow, you have to like, you know, it could potentially like kill like 2 minions before getting a free minion. But I'm gonna pick this one. Alright, this is an auto pick. Flame Strike is probably like the best card for Mage. In Arena it's basically a Raigeki. Deals 4 damage to all enemy minions. Yeah, it costs 7, but games tend to last longer in Arena, so it's not even an issue. The other ones are just like, okay, this is like a bomb pick for Mage. Here, shoot, yeah, this is kind of tough too. I either picked the removal, I didn't pick the secret last time, so I don't really have much reason to pick the guy that gets secrets. Or I pick like the potential card draw dude. So this is kind of tough. I like picking card advantage cards over just kind of generic removal. Even though the 4 damage, it's usually like always good. You know, if I'm playing against like Paladin or something, I could just completely miss though, and you know, hit a token. Kind of forces me to not play it. I'll probably pick this because it has, you know, combo potential with my class, and it's generally, you know, a pretty good card. Okay, so here I might have to just pick the mech to give my Cogmaster a little bit more synergy, even though like this one's pretty good and then this one's pretty good too. They're all pretty good. This one I can actually like combo with my hero power. So this is a 3 for 3/3, and Rage means if it took any damage, it has a new effect. So if it took damage, it gains Wind Fury and +1 attack. So like, you know, as a combo, like I could like shoot 1 damage to it. It'd be a 4/2 that has Wind Fury. It could potentially attack for 8. This is a mech though, like I said, it has my synergy. And this is like a low cost efficient creature, like Haunted Creepers. Sees play in a constructed. Shoot, my gut tells me to go with this one because it has, you know, in Arena it's a good effect. Even if it trades, you know, for a 3/3, it's still good. This one can get out of control if it's not contested, and it's a mech. So yeah, you can like easily see, like even if you're just picking out of 3 cards, like what's the best, you know, for your deck. Yeah, I think my gut tells me to go with this. Even though people might say my gut is stupid, I don't know. Yeah, I'll pick that. So this is a 3/3. When it comes into play, it does 1 damage. If I cast a spell, this gains attack. Let's see how many spells I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In most cases, like this would probably be better just because it is a 1-drop. This kind of removal, it's a 3 cost. It can do 1 damage. We picked this last time. I kind of want to go with this one just because it is an early drop, and I could potentially like pump it, you know, if I drop some early spells. But this can also be like good too, but usually the 1 damage I'm gonna try to like use my hero power, even though getting it in creature form is also good. So yeah, I think this just like comes into play with like my inexperience in Arena to truly evaluate like what the best cards are. Like this is probably a bad top deck. This is okay. This is probably like the best like in a top decking situation to just randomly kill stuff. And I do like the low cost of this. I have 2 1-drops so far, so having a 3rd 1-drop might not be terrible. I have 6 more cards to pick from. Yeah, I'll go with that one. Alright, so we can either choose removal or card draw. I already have 2 Acolytes of Pain. I think in Arena you can like bypass the 2 of rule. So I can either play like a 3rd one of this or a 2nd of this. My gut tells me to go with this one because it has synergy with my worm. It's a low cost, does 3 damage. Yeah, probably an easy fireball pick. Yeah. I see this guy get played quite often. Like this one, I'm not going to have a weapon. This one, 4 for 5/4 is not terrible. It bounces a creature I control. But probably this one, I think, maybe a good spot in my curve here. I'll pick that one. Alright, so here I can choose either between a fatty that has like a hindering effect, like most people don't play it to be that way, like it doesn't matter, like having a 5 for 7/6 is always going to be like a good trade-off. Having another Frostbolt might not be terrible, but I don't have like a lot of fatties to like close out the game, and I'm not like aggressive enough to close it out in the early game. But this like secret's not terrible. If I ever get attacked, I'm going to gain basically 8 health. So yeah, like they're all like justifiable picks. I think this one as a fatty is pretty good. It's undercosted, regardless of the effect. Having another Frostbolt is not terrible. Eventually, when it gets to the mid game, like if I do 3 damage through this, and then 1 damage through hero power, that's like 4 damage, and that kills like a good chunk of creatures. I think I kind of want to have a fatty here, just to be able to have a 7/6. This one has a potential to like clear a lot of little dudes. Does 3 damage randomly split among the enemy characters. My natural pick is to pick this. This is when it's out. Each time one of my minions dies, I get to draw a card. So you can potentially like draw a whole bunch of cards off this. 4 for 4/2 is okay. You generally want to get value out of it, like when you play it. You don't just like randomly play it for the body aspect. So I'll pick that one. This one's a mech. Gives my Cogmaster some synergy, but having 0 attack is pretty lame. Its effect, like, I guess it can be good. It just never really, like, most people that play this and this will die, and then it just doesn't do anything. This one, swap the attack and health of a minion. This has a little bit of potential to like, have some plays, and I don't think I have any secrets, so this is just basically a 1 for 1/2. So I'll probably pick this. I know it's not really a good card, but I'm basically like picking out of 3 crappy cards. Alright, and that's my deck. So that shows you how the arena works. This video has probably gone on for way long now. And I guess, in the next few videos I'll show some arena runs and see how I do with this deck. The curve aspect of it, doesn't look terrible. It's just kind of like, I don't know, I think I have a bunch of crappy cards and I don't really like the deck too much. But having the Flame Strike is nice. Like, I see like people pull this like so often, but this has been like the first time I've actually managed to get a Flame Strike in Mage, so I'm kind of happy about that. But one Flame Strike's not going to carry the deck. No, maybe it's not terrible. We'll see. But thanks for watching. Comment with any tips that you have. Did I just pick absolutely terrible? If I did, be nice to me. Just tell me what I should have done instead. Yeah, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.